He struck her before anyone could process what was happening. The sharp crack cut through the low hum of conversation, silencing the entire room in an instant. Glasses froze midair. Conversations died mid-sentence. Every eye turned toward the source of the sound. Victor Hale didn't lower his hand. He stood there, chest slightly heaving, jaw tight, eyes burning with the kind of arrogance that came from never being told no. The most powerful man in the room, the richest, the one everyone tolerated, feared, or needed. And now, the man who had just crossed a line he didn't even understand yet. The woman he slapped didn't fall. She steadied herself with one hand on the edge of the marble table, the other instinctively moving to her stomach. Her breathing was controlled, but her eyes were different now. Not fear, not weakness. Recognition. "You shouldn't have done that," she said quietly. Victor let out a short, dismissive laugh, adjusting his cufflinks like he had just brushed dust off his sleeve. "You're in my space. You speak when spoken to. That's how this works." A few nervous chuckles echoed from the edges of the room. No one stepped in. No one ever stepped in. Except tonight wasn't like other nights. The woman straightened fully now, her posture calm despite everything. "You don't know who I am." Victor smirked. "I don't need to." That was the moment everything shifted. A man near the back slowly set his drink down. Another reached for his phone but hesitated. A third quietly stepped backward, already sensing the storm forming. Because they knew. Victor didn't. "You will," she said. Silence. Then the doors opened. Not dramatically, not loudly, just enough to draw attention. But the shift in energy was immediate, heavy, pressurized, like the air itself had thickened. 3 men walked in first. Calm, controlled, not security, something else entirely. Their eyes scanned the room with purpose, landing instantly on the woman. Then he walked in. No introduction, no announcement. He didn't need one. Every person in that room who understood power, real power, felt it the second he stepped inside. His gaze didn't move around. It locked directly onto her. And then slowly to Victor. "What happened?" His voice was low, but it carried. Victor rolled his shoulders, unimpressed. "Private event. Who are you supposed to be?" No one answered him. The woman spoke instead. "I'm fine." But she didn't look fine. The man's eyes dropped briefly to her stomach, then back to her face. His jaw tightened for just a second before smoothing again. That tiny shift alone was enough to make one of the guests quietly slip toward the exit. Victor noticed the tension now, just a flicker of it, still not fear. Annoyance. "Listen," Victor said, stepping forward. "This isn't a public circus. If you're looking for attention." The man didn't look at him when he spoke again. "Did he touch you?" "Yes," she said. That was it. Victor scoffed. "Oh, please, this is ridiculous." The man finally turned his head. The room seemed to shrink. "You hit my wife." It wasn't a question. Victor blinked once, then smiled, like he found the entire situation amusing. "Then you should teach her better manners." No one laughed this time. The man took a step forward. And suddenly, Victor felt it. Not the words, not the situation. The shift. The kind that money couldn't fix. The kind that couldn't be negotiated, bought, or spun into a PR recovery. Still, pride held him in place. "You're making a mistake escalating this." The man stopped just a few feet away, close enough now that Victor could see the absolute calm in his eyes. Not rage, not chaos. Control. "No," the man said quietly. "You already did." Victor glanced around, expecting someone, anyone, to step in to laugh it off, to restore the balance he was used to. But no one moved. Some people were already leaving. Others avoided eye contact completely. And that's when it hit him. Not fully, but enough. "Who are you?" Victor asked, this time with a slight edge beneath the arrogance. The man didn't answer immediately. Instead, he reached out and gently touched his wife's arm, checking her balance, her composure. The care in that small gesture contrasted so sharply with what had just happened that it made the room feel even colder. Then he looked back at Victor. "You'll find out," he said. Victor laughed again, but it was thinner now. "You think I'm afraid of you?" "No," the man replied. "I think you don't understand yet." There was a pause. A long one. And then, without another word, the man turned slightly. One of the men behind him stepped forward, handing him a phone. He dialed a number. Put it on speaker. Victor crossed his arms, trying to reclaim control. "This is getting pathetic." The call connected. "Handle it," the man said. Then he hung up. That was all. Victor opened his mouth to respond. And his own phone buzzed. He frowned, pulling it out. Unknown number. Ignored it. It rang again. Then again. Then messages started flooding in. His assistant. His legal team. Board members. His expression shifted as he read the first message. Then the second. Then the third. "What is this?" he muttered under his breath. No one answered. Across the room, someone whispered, "It's already started." Victor looked up sharply. "What?" But before anyone could respond, his phone rang again. This time he answered. "What?" he snapped. Silence on the other end for a second. Then a voice shaky. "Sir, we have a situation." "What situation?" "Our accounts, several have been frozen. There are investigations, I don't know how, but..." Victor's face hardened. "That's impossible." "There's more," the voice continued. "Media inquiries, leaks, internal files, they're everywhere." Victor looked up slowly. At the man. The realization wasn't complete yet. But it was growing. "This is you?" Victor asked. The man tilted his head slightly. "You think this is about revenge?" Victor didn't answer. Because suddenly, it didn't feel like revenge. It felt like something much bigger. "Then what is it?" Victor demanded. The man's gaze didn't waver. "Consequences." The word landed heavier than anything else said that night. Victor swallowed, trying to regain footing. "You don't scare me." The man nodded slightly. "You're right, fear comes later." Another phone rang. Not Victor's. Someone else. Then another. And another. The room was unraveling. Because whatever had just been set in motion wasn't contained to Victor anymore. It was spreading. Victor's confidence cracked just slightly. "You think you can destroy me over this?" The man's expression didn't change. "You destroyed yourself." The woman spoke again, her voice steady despite everything. "We were going to leave quietly." Victor looked at her, confusion flickering. "What?" "You could have walked away," she said. "You could have said nothing." Victor shook his head, trying to reject the reality forming around him. "This is insane." "No," the man said softly. "This is precise." Victor's phone slipped slightly in his grip. "Who are you?" he asked again, but this time it wasn't arrogance. It was something else. The man stepped closer, just enough that only Victor could clearly hear the next words. But the entire room felt them anyway. "I'm the man you should have respected." Silence. Then footsteps. The man turned, guiding his wife gently toward the exit. The others followed. No rush, no chaos. Just control. As they reached the door, the woman glanced back one last time. Not with anger, not even with satisfaction. Just certainty. Then they were gone. Victor stood frozen. The room slowly began to empty, people leaving in quiet urgency. No one said goodbye. No one offered reassurance. Because everyone understood something he was only just beginning to grasp. Power wasn't always loud. And sometimes it didn't need to be. Victor looked down at his phone again. More messages, more alerts, more cracks forming in the empire he thought was untouchable. For the first time in a long time, he didn't know what to do. and that uncertainty. That was only the beginning. If this story pulled you in, don't stop here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because stories like this only get deeper. Drop a comment with what you think Victor should have done differently, and hit like if you want more intense, high-stakes stories like this.